Step, David, we're late.
I know. Ouch. Oh,
Ouch. Don't
oh,
worry,
oh.
I broke the wick in the candle, so the flame's not that high. You're not going to burn your arse today. Good afternoon, folks. Better get
Yes.
better get Facebook on board, eh? 76 in the waiting room, David. 79
Yeah.
too. Right, better get Facebook on.
Yeah, what they've been doing is, saying to people if we're talking about this battery fire, the battery factory fire, they've been telling people in Paisley, keep the windows shut, and if you're in the car, make sure you stay away from that area. Keep the windows in the car. It just shows it must be pretty toxic stuff.
Must be because they're also telling people in cars to keep their air conditioning off and shut the
Yeah,
vents in the car
yeah,
so that you're within the bubble you left your own area in.
yeah.
Hashby Stumbles, the IFS report on the manifestos was quite interesting, especially with their take on the Scottish manifesto, which David and I will get to when we get into the programme. We're just waiting until we get up at 100 mark until we see some Facebook buddies join us. And the first one in is Melanie McCann. Welcome, McCann. I'm Mel. Sorry about the mispronunciation of your name, darling. I never seen you on a Saturday at a Bannockburn. I was a bit surprised not to see you, Mel. Oh, Dean. I did see you on Saturday. Yeah, I was quite surprised to see old Donald Anderson still out campaigning on Saturday at Bannockburn. 87-year-old now. He's been a member of the Scottish Socialist movement since Santa was a boy. He was out raising funds for the John McQueen statue in Glasgow, for the John McQueen Society.
Anyway, hi guys. Sorry, I was busy getting out the information on that fire that's taking place in Paisley, and it's a battery, a recycling and treatment facility.
Aye.
Now, we've all seen the images on TV of like Tesla or whatever. There are other electric vehicles bursting into flames, and the flames are terrific. It's like what I've seen on maybe on a movie where a tank gets hit by a round missile, and you see the flames shooting out the hatch at the top, right? When a
Uh-huh.
battery goes, it's that kind of flame that's coming out, and that that looks dreadful. No wonder people have been told to stay in your house and blooming don't open the window.
Aye.
Um, and that it will be very, very, very toxic indeed.
Aye. Now,
Um,
we better give a quick mention of the football team and all. Eh? I will
well,
get
uh,
did your best.
okay. Look, I'm not a football supporter, right? I think the Scottish team did the best they could, right? They did the best they could. I think they were equally matched with Hungary. Um, I've stopped watching football. I watched that one last night, and I reminded myself why I've stopped watching it because it causes me that much pain inside when I
Aye.
see our team doing badly, right? But anyway, guys, all I can say is they did their best.
I need
They're on
to
their way along,
I need to
and
mention
and
this.
I think the people of Germany are the ones that got the best out of the Scotland, the Tartan Army, because some of the comments I've heard from like the mayor who commented on them, like the Scottish supporters are fantastic, all the rest of it, right? And I think that's wonderful. Well done to the team for getting as far as you got, and well done to the fans for
Right,
giving us for being good
good
diplomats
ambassadors for
for
Scottish people.
Scotland.
I
Yeah.
know. I want to Gazzy Bartley. I want to Karen. Hi. I want to thank you and Lynn for the gift at the weekend. I have ordered a dark coloured T-shirt to put it onto, and at some point over the next week or so, you will see that T-shirt appear on the show.
Right, okay.
And I say thanks for the kind gift. It was very kind of you.
Well, all I can say is my daughter, she went to Hard Rock Cafe. She bought her mother a really beautiful hoodie, right? And it's like an ad got a New York Times. Now, I think, is there a wee bit of a imbalance there somewhere?
Because I know the background story and you asked the lassie for a New York Times.
Yeah.
Right, we better move on. Facebook's on board. We're 5-6 minutes in. Fair bit. Two Davies, 24/6, 2024. Swinney, in response to Sir Kid Starver, says Scotland is ignored within the Union.
It's not news. It's not news. It's something that we've seen over and over and over again in the House of Commons. But it is worthwhile repeating the fact that Scotland is ignored by those others in the House of Commons. And the people of Scotland have to do something about it. It's not down to the politicians to do anything about that. It's down to the people to do something about that. And what the people have to do is vote SNP, and thereby, hopefully, we get the situation where we've got a referendum taking place. Yeah, then we can vote for our freedom from Westminster.
Aye.
That's all I can say.
As you know, David, they're trying to spin SNP bad stories at the moment. And the latest one we're calling Stampgate.
Aye. Yeah, go. No, we talked about this one. Go on, have a go. You do the Stampgate one.
It's been noticed recently, folks, that our MSPs are replying more by snail mail and using more stamps. So there is now an inquiry because somebody has claimed they're using it to post out campaign materials. So I'm going to explain to you what's happening.
Yeah, but do you think they're maybe doing that to slow down the speed of response?
Yes.
Go on then. Explain.
Right, David. A lot of people won't know the procedure when you email an MSP or an MP. Now, when you email an MSP or an MP, you will get an automated reply to that email saying that they will be in touch. Now, that either means you're going to get a phone call for a researcher, an email, or a letter. Now, generally, it's a letter. They like to put things down officially.
Oh, I like getting the letter back with the House of Commons, and it's lovely. It's sort of beige paper, isn't it? And a beige envelope.
Right.
With the one with the chainmail door gate, So.
Yep. So no, at this point in time, the people who are having to send out the most letters as the SNP, as party members, have been kicking up a fuck about the approach to this election.
Yeah.
So basically, what's happening is they're sending out mere letters, right, and answering questions.
Yeah.
Now, what they're trying to do is conflate the constituency business of sending out letters with campaign materials because they are talking directly to members.
Yeah.
It's all been done officially because you've got to remember everything that goes out in that paper has got to be copied and pasted into the official record. So at this point in time, the SNP, MSPs are spending more money on stamps because they've got a lot of us asking them questions.
Yeah.
Whether it be about the a constituency business or whether it be about party business, either way they've got the answer. Because party business is also constituency business.
Yeah.
Because party members within the constituency are still constituents.
Yeah.
So basically what they're trying to say is because these letters are going out to party members, is that it's campaign materials that's going out.
Yeah.
It's no campaign materials going out. As you folk all on here know, and David and I will be used to doing this, writing to emailing MPs and MSPs and getting back these bloody responses either by email. Most of my responses are phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, emails or letter is generally
Yep.
how it's done. So it's just pathetic mischief making by the unions. But John was in the press having to defend himself and his party on Sky. And what he was telling Sky was, I can assure you, it's no campaign letters.
You know,
Guys,
God bless John for coming back and saying something. But yeah, I know what you would have said, or what I would have said. We have said, is that the best you fucking got?
I
After Partygate and the blooming, everything that went on with the PPE and all the rest of it, and you're having to go as a fucking stamps.
But the thing is, there is a parliamentary inquiry underway because a member of another political party has made a complaint about the increased costs of postage stamps to a SNP MSP constituency offices. Now, of course, if I was an opposition party member, I would be wondering if we were using that money to put out in campaign materials. But as we know, that would be illegal. Our MSPs know that would be illegal. But we do know there's a valid reason for bare contact with constituencies, constituents, at this particular point in time. Okay, so John has to defend the SNP on another nonsense story.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to discuss something a wee bit later on where he should have made a response, but didn't. And yet he makes a response out of women stamps. Isn't the world's going crazy, right? Anyway,
the next one.
So, Stephen Flynn.
No.
No,
SNP manifesto and Swinney wants more taxes.
Oh, he wants to be. Yeah, sorry, move things a bit. Aye, he wants to make more Devo of taxes. I wrote. Yep. Yes. Let's have a bit more Devo. Well, I say no, don't bother. We'll just have independence instead.
Anyway, but in the manifesto, believe it or not, they want a devolution of full taxation of income tax powers, including the base rate. Because remember, income tax is basically devolved except for the one thing, the base rate.
Yeah.
So they want control of that. They want control of a taxation of savings and investments.
Look, do you not think there should be somebody round about him saying, Mr. Swinney, forgive me for this, with all due respect, would you not be better mentioning independence and how independence would give us full control over all taxes, right? We could even get rid of a few if we wanted to, right? Because,
they're hedging their bets in case the people don't want it.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a popular vote.
Yeah.
So they're hedging their bets. So in the manifesto, they want a devolution of full tax, income tax.
Mm-hmm.
They want a devolution of VAT.
Yeah.
And they want devolution of a taxes on pensions and investments.
Okay.
They want the full devolution of VAT. Now,
VAT, the devolution of VAT would be a rather good thing because if you started messing around with the numbers, it's like you could actually generate a bit of growth. Yeah. Especially if you reduce the VAT on, say, building supplies, stuff like that, right?
Anyway, as you know, the Institute for Fiscal Studies has done a breakdown of all the manifestos, and none of them have been very favourable what they've said. But what they've said in the SNP's demands for more devolved taxes, they don't think it's a bad idea to devolve the whole of income tax. Yeah. They don't think it's a bad idea to devolve the whole of national insurance. They don't think it's a bad idea to devolve the taxes on pensions and savings and investments, which include pensions and the interest you pay on savings you got in your bank accounts. But they do see that the devolution of that would be problematic.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Because what they're saying is, if Scotland decided to reduce its VAT, shoppers in England would buy from Scotland.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
They were saying,
And to be honest with you, David, there shouldn't be any VAT. VAT was a construct of the European Union, if you will remember, if you can you remember back that far, right? And so VAT was something that came from the European Union, and it was to help pay the subs to be in the European Union, so there was no perceived cost. So the people would be paying for the club money, as it were, to be part of the club. Yeah.
We'll address Dean's point in a wee minute. But anyway, this leads, especially one of national insurance, that leads to experts saying it would be difficult to devolve. Well, income tax wasn't difficult to devolve, and neither would national insurance be. Because, David, as we all know, if you're a registered taxpayer in Scotland, you've got a national insurance number and you've got a tax number. And the tax number and the national security number are specific to you. The tax number as well specifically has an S at the end of it to say it's a Scottish taxpayer. All you have to do is put an S at the end of the national insurance number to say it's a Scottish national insurance payer. But as both are linked and both collected by the same agency, UK-wide, they already know who's paying national insurance in Scotland. So it's no difficult to devolve at all.
Yeah.
So the experts that are telling us it's difficult are telling us porky pies.
My daughter, who's about to turn 18, thinks that your national insurance number is sexist. I went, go on and explain that one. She's got a clever kid, honestly, right? She said, why is it men have got the suffix of A and women have got the suffix of B?
Didn't you know that? Mine's is D.
Yeah, well, no, okay, it's because you were armed forces or whatever, right?
Oh, David, but national insurance number is issued by a HMRC.
No, the majority. No, I worked for a company that employed an awful lot of people, and it's like the national insurance numbers, by and large, men were ended with an A, as mine does, and women end with a B, and she thinks that is sexist. Anyway, it was just a wee aside.
Well, okay. That's quite funny because Sarah's ends with a C and mine's ends with a D.
Is that right?
Aye.
I think they've got it in for you too.
Because David, it's the first I've heard it, as I say. Mine's ends with a D. Sarah's ends with a D.
Yeah. Okay. I believe it. Don't worry, I believe it. Yeah.
So I'm going to address Dean's point here. They want Devo Max sort of. The rest want Devo gone. Vote SNP or lose Holyrood. Oh, didn't say they can't. They can do as they please. You're absolutely correct, Dean. You're absolutely correct. We're not just voting in this election for moving forward with independence. We're also voting to protect devolution.
Yes.
You know,
because we've known for a long time that they've got their eyes on Holyrood and the ways that they can shut Holyrood down or whatever. Oh, thank you very much, Duncan. Actually, can I get your second name properly? It's so small, and it's Duncan McKerricher, right? That's wonderful, Duncan. Lovely. Yeah. So
he says also that you better get ready for this one, David, because you and I are in this deal and all. He said there's another £100 coming after the 4th of July when the Greens don't win a seat. Yeah.
So are you giving £100 if they don't want a seat?
No, you are. I bet you, Duncan.
I'm doing nothing for the Greens.
I bet you. No, you're not getting it to Greens. You're getting it to your charity.
I took £100 and I gave £100 to SNP. I gave 50 quid to the charity, and I'll probably give another 50 quid. So that's fine. But David, fuck all to do with the Greens. All right, don't worry about it.
It was a bet you and I took against each other.
I didn't take any bet. Did I stick my hand out and you shook it? No, we're on a blooming TV screen, so there you go, right?
They took it that serious. Duncan says that he'll bet you £100 and all, or he'll take my bet.
No.
Greens don't want to see.
No interested. I am a pensioner now. I can't afford all these 100 quid.
I should accept a bet and then we'll show them, man.
Right, come on. And on and on.
Right, anyway, Stephen Flynn's moved on for the NHS this week. He's moved on to the people of Scotland imagine a future out with broken Brexit Britain, is what he's calling it. So this week, Stephen's promoting the idea of independence, but he's using the term imagine a Scotland's future without broken Brexit Britain. Do you think that's a clever way to go about it?
The problem is for a lot of the gammons, and let's call them what they are, the gammons, right? That will just fall on deaf ears. Of course it will. Yeah. So I don't know if it will get very far at all. The people of Scotland, I think people of Scotland just want to see the cost of things coming down. The only way we can get the cost of things coming down is get back into Europe again. Because Euphemia, I wrote about it the other week there, and I talked about it. As well.
Euphemia's not the only reason, David.
And I'm going to mention it. I'm going to mention it again ad nauseum. Because you need to know about Euphemia. Euphemia is a system.
I've already told them, David. We don't have time for this right now.
Yeah, it was a Dutch auction. And what it made was that when the power stations bid, the price went down and down and down. So people in Europe got a lower cost for their electricity, and straight away the people in Britain ended up where their blooming prices went up.
Prices are not the only reason for rejoining Europe. I'd like cheaper food prices as well. And good
quality. Dude. I know, I appreciate that. So, but I'm bringing in one particular reason.
No, you did one particular reason 4 times in this programme. Let's find a second particular reason for wanting to go back into the EU.
Hang on a second while I open my bottle.
Aye.
You're always opening a fucking can. I'm opening a bottle a day.
Aye, if I'm not working. Hey, Madam Directors, we're going to come back from that refill.
I'm a pensioner. I don't need to drive anywhere. Besides which, my right leg's missing, so I can't operate the accelerator or brake.
So anyway, let's get back to Stephen Flynn. Never mind your Euphemia. Let's get back to Stephen Flynn. Do you think the idea of telling people to think about a post UK existence is more likely to get them to vote for it?
Trying to get people to think about anything like that, I don't think it's got much traction at all. I think Stephen's got he's got a good way about him. I love to hear him speaking in the House of Commons, but I don't honestly think people will think about anything with regard to that. Thinking about anything to do with politics or whatever, for some people it's too much like hard work. We know that. Ask the people down here that have to go in and blooming chap doors and talk to people that are non-politically minded at all. Yeah, it's a shame. That's a fact.
So, anyway, the whole point is the tactic is to remind people that we're dragged out of Europe against our will and we want back.
Yeah.
So, imagining a future outside Britain, he was talking about going back into the European Union. And of course, that would solve an awful lot of problems, like within the labour markets, food prices, quality standards, realising the standards. So there's many reasons. Euphemia, the electricity prices, those things, But that's the point that Stephen was making. That the only way you're going to get back to Europe is to vote for SNP.
Yeah.
Because when we get right down it, we spoke about this in the last couple of shows back when the Lib Dems hadn't put getting back into Europe into their manifesto either. It meant that there weren't any political parties other than the SNP who were talking about going back into Europe. Because I don't think the Greens here in Scotland are taking that line, but they may well be. Right now, at number 5, still a Scottish story, but Starmer's in the mix, and actually the next three bits are sort of linked. And the Two Davies Labour strategy in Scotland and how it's going to be under this Labour government. But the story about Starmer's visit on Friday, there was an undercurrent at the constituency that he was in West Lothian. Now, while he was there, it came to light that the constituency of West Lothian, which is a Labour target seat, allegedly, doesn't get any money.
Yeah.
All that money that Labour have managed to bring in down in England through corporate backers and things like that, none of it's made its way to Scotland.
Do you think? I mean, we've all heard that the branch office for Scottish Labour is in Newcastle, right?
Aye.
Do you think it's that the money, the donated money, gets as far as Newcastle and no further?
Well, that branch office will be dealing with the north of England as well as the whole of Scotland. Yeah. Remember, they shut down the Glasgow office before Labour's finances started to get better.
Yeah.
With all that money they've got down in England, they're supposed to have 16 target seats in Scotland, and West Lothian's one of them. Now, there's a stooshy going on between the candidate in West Lothian and the constituency Labour Party in West Lothian, because the constituency Labour Party in West Lothian are skint. It's taken them years to build up a war chest of £12,000. The candidate wants it all spent on this election campaign.
Yeah.
And the constituency Labour Party in West Lothian want to hold back money for further campaigns, which will be coming down the line.
Right.
So, but if that's a target seat for Labour, and Labour have got all that money sloshing about in a fund in England, apparently, none of it's making its way to Scotland. None of it. And you and I were talking about this because when it comes to leaflets, I've had 3 for the SNP. I've had 1 from Labour. I've had nothing for the Tories, nothing for the Lib Dems, and nothing for the Reform. I believe you got 1 for the Reform today.
I got 1 for Reform, and I've got 2 from Labour.
How many you had for the SNP?
But there's no point in the Conservatives in this area whatsoever.
I know. They're only 5 seats in Scotland.
Lib Dem, they're okay if you go across to maybe Bearsden or Mulgai, whatever, that sort of thing. Then you're talking about middle class, slightly middle class people. They'll give Lib Dems their vote, you know. So anyway, there you
go. So there's a battle going on in the constituency. While Starmer's there, and the constituency Labour Party is telling Starmer, we're skint, and this one's causing division because she wants them to spend their whole battle fund, and they've got to take a long-term view.
Yeah.
You know, but it's taken them years apparently to get that 12,000 fund.
Yeah.
And the candidate wants it all spent on this one campaign. You can understand why she wants it all spent in this campaign.
Yeah.
Now, her name is Christine Sullivan. And as I say, the people who are supposed to be campaigning for her right now are at war with her. So it would appear that Labour's campaign in West Lothian has ground to a bloody standstill.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny because that's when Starmer was there on Friday. And that gets us to Starmer. Because on Friday, while in Scotland, he's asked by a member of the press, what's he going to do when if the SNP return the majority and demand negotiations to get either another referendum or to end the union. And Starmer tells them, it doesn't matter if they wipe the board and take all the seats in Scotland. I'm not negotiating with the SNP. End of story. There will be no further negotiations on independence. End of story.
Yeah, all right, okay. Look, there we've got an image of Starmer flexing his muscles, right? And saying, no, I'm not listening to that lot. You know, to be honest with you, I can't say I'm listening to Starmer very much. Are you?
Quite intently when it comes to his strategy for Scotland, yes.
No, not really. No, I know what you mean, but I'm talking about his strategy for Scotland when it comes to the thing about independence and listening to us. You know, if you won't listen to us, then I say, fine, okay, we won't listen to you. And what we'll do is we will carry on and we will do the thing of the Scottish election, making it a plebiscite. and that happens anyway, regardless of what he says.
That wasn't the Scottish election, David. That was a Scottish party, man. That was Scottish.
Yeah, all right, okay, right.
At conference.
Anyway, back on, because Starmer, I've listened to Starmer over and over and over again, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not very impressed.
Now, I'm going to warn the people of Scotland about Starmer's strategy in Scotland. When he said no on Friday, it had to do with beefing up muscular unionism.
Mm-hmm.
And this is today with what his shadow secretary for Scotland has been saying and what's in the Labour manifesto on Scotland. For those of you
who's it supposed to scare? Who's it supposed to scare?
It's not supposed to scare anybody. It's telling you that.
Well, muscular unionism straight away makes you think of these big, powerful politicians, what they're going to do to us.
They're not telling us they're going to scare us. They're telling us directly what they're going to do, David. The scare bits are irrelevant.
Yeah, I'm
going to explain to your viewers so they can tell the public what they're going to do.
Carry on.
They're going to reduce the position of Scotland's First Minister, the Welsh First Minister, the dual First Ministers in Northern Ireland, situation down to nothing more than a county mayor. It's in their manifesto. And that comes down to this muscular unionism. He's making it clear to the devolved nations, by the way, we're in charge and we're staying in charge. And the statements that have come out of the Scotland office are quite clear. Scotland will have no window in the world except for the Scotland office, and they will only be allowed, in their manifesto this states this, they will only be allowed to talk to other international bodies if and when Labour deem it appropriate.
And what happens if somebody does?
I have no idea yet.
Right, okay.
But listen, it's very easy for him to turn around and go a step further than the Tories and actually shut down access to the diplomatic service altogether, except for when they say so. Okay. And in the only place in their manifesto they say that Scotland's voice should be heard on the international stage is when it comes to human sciences.
So let me see if I get this right. Okay, let's say I'm a politician. I've been elected, right? And I jump on an airplane and I go to, I don't know, Turkey. Well, I gotta go to Turkey and I have a wee meeting with Mr. Erdogan, right? What's going to happen there? You
won't be getting past the airport.
But they don't know what I'm going for.
Then it's not an official duty.
That's fine, that's okay. But do you understand what I'm trying to say? They don't actually have to say what they're going to do, that it's an official, get the troops out and women, let's have a troop in the colour and all the rest of it, right? It's just a politician going to speak to another politician. And as far as I'm concerned, it's like, I think, to be honest with you, fuck them. Listen to them, yes. Do it anyway. Yeah. Anyway, right. So, yeah.
Unless they're saying they're going to Turkey on holiday. And believe me, there were a couple of fucking diplomats following them about, even on holiday. Or a couple of spooks. The minute they get near an elected official, they'll just be holding back.
Yeah,
people have to realise how dangerous this man Starmer is. I mean, this is the guy that condones the slaughter of 37,000 women and children. This is the guy that runs the Labour Party with an iron rod. This is a guy who is telling us that he's going to hollow out the evolution the way we were told in 2014. This guy is dangerous.
So therefore, he's trying to make himself sound dangerous. There's two different things there, David.
He is fucking dangerous. He's condoned the death of 37,000 women and children in Gaza.
That just says to me he's a prick.
So it doesn't mean it's no dangerous killing. Condoning the deaths of 37,000.
That just tells me. That just tells me he's a prick. All right. And the reason it tells me he's a prick is the fact that unless he's the one actually out there pulling the trigger or dropping the bomb or whatever, right? He can say what he likes about Gaza, right? At the end of the day, that just makes him a prick. If you want me to actually consider that Starmer is a dangerous man, No, I don't think he is.
I think Class Action's got this one right, David. So I'm going to stick it up. He's saying, what the
Right?
fuck?
What the fuck, David Milligan? What the hell's that supposed to say? I'm
When
entitled. Hang on, whoa, hang on. It's a discussion program. I'm entitled to my opinion. He's entitled to his opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion. So fucking shut up.
Hey, listen, David, the point being made is if you can condone the death of 37 women and children
No,
somewhere else,
no,
just let me finish.
that just says to me there's something wrong with his head, or
What it
he's
says that
getting
you
money,
gave
or
to
he's
you
getting
and your
money,
children.
or he's getting money to do it, right?
David, what it means is that he could quite easily, without any consciousness, do it to you and yours.
Yeah, all right, okay.
That makes
Right.
that man dangerous.
He's not dangerous.
He is
He's not
dangerous.
dangerous. He's only dangerous if he manages to move things in a certain way, and I don't think he'll be allowed to.
He's
End
already
of.
told you what way he's going to go with Scotland.
Yeah, all
It's
right,
in his
okay.
manifesto. But that's not
I,
the point, David.
it's
Any
not.
leader,
I'm not convinced, and I won't be convinced. So that's my opinion, right? And
right?
you can hang with it, right? So,
So I'm
ain't it,
going to
David? We'll
ask
see what happens. We'll see
any
what happens.
politician.
If you see me disappearing on an Air Canada flight, right? Do try to keep up.
What I'm telling you, David, is any politician that could condone a genocide anywhere could quite simply condone it in his own home.
Right. The thing that makes Starmer dangerous is the fact that our people could be fooled into voting Labour to get rid of the Conservatives. That's what makes him dangerous.
No,
Not
what makes
not anything that he's going to do when he gets into number 10. When he gets into number 10, if he sends an army up the road, we've already discussed that one. And it's laughable, right? So Starmer's not dangerous in that sense.
what he is?
Come
We've
on.
got a man that
Come
said
on.
he pressed the nuclear button and has already condoned the deaths of 20.
They always do, David. They have to say they'll press the nuclear button.
But we have
Otherwise,
to tell people,
no. This is the usual test of the future prime minister. Would you press the nuclear button? Those that say yes, of course I would. Yeah, and they'll give a good reason. Blah 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 blah. Right, and that's it. And so therefore, that's ticking the box. It doesn't get them into number 10. At least it doesn't pull them away from it, right? Yeah.
the point I'm trying to make, David, anybody that votes for somebody like that is a fucking lunatic as well.
Thanks, Al.
He said he was out with a dog, but he's been listening. He put his arse in the naughty step. See, it's a matter of opinion, David. We've already had a genocide in this country with the Tories. He intends to continue it. The man is dangerous.
All right. Okay. The genocide in this country is something that's been perpetrated on people over a very, very long period of time. You get that. And I do, honestly, I get that, right? And that was austerity. And if Starmer continues with austerity, yes, I believe that there will be a situation where people will die. Yes.
Well,
However,
the IFS, David, as you know, have broke down both their manifestos and said you could put a fact paper between them.
yeah.
The two-child cap next year alone will put another 250,000 children into poverty. He doesn't give a fuck.
Okay.
He doesn't give a fuck. That's what makes the man dangerous.
I don't, to be honest with you, I don't think he'll get much further than next year anyway.
Do you
I
think?
think I think because of the economic situation that he's going to find himself in, that people are going to go, well, we want to suffer on this when the Tories in, right? And that will twig, and people will end up, they'll end up with a vote no conference, no time. Just my opinion, but there you go. All right.
My opinion is people keep fucking voting the right type of people into power, but more importantly, the right
Correct.
type of people.
Absolutely.
The right
Well,
type of
people voted the wrong way in 2014. I can't do fuck all about that, but that was their opinion.
No, but a wee bit more humanity in the media might mean that we wouldn't have this sort of cunt in power.
Yeah. All right, come on, let's crack on.
So
anyway,
anyway,
Aaron Sawa is
right.
put on the spot.
Obviously Starmer's no thinking about Scotland at all, but we know that his manifesto. And because Sarwart is once again slapped in the chops and put in the spot as in Sunday morning, he's in front of Martin Geisler, and Martin Geisler grills him on how the Scottish people exit this union.
Mm-hmm.
He did the very same thing he did with
a year ago. Yeah.
Anas avoided the questions, but there was a couple of things in there that he did say that was true.
Yeah.
And that was, it's not the settled will of the Scottish people, yeah.
Mm.
And but the lie in there was it was in Scotland's hands.
Mm.
How did the people of Scotland get out of this union? Or the majority of people just have to vote for it. How was the question?
Yeah. How do they get to the vote? How do they open the polling stations? How do they get the polling ballot boxes out of their cupboards?
Anyway, as Anas wriggled on a hook at the end, guys, I went, I'm not getting this answer. I guess we're going to have to revisit it. You know? But as I say, the whole point was that muscular unionism, as they're calling it.
Hang on, stop a second. I'm not having that. James Lindsay, put that up to answer that bastard. Right? Come on, put the one. He's third down.
I can see it actually.
You see him, Mr. Milligan thinks God. Mr. Milligan does not think God gave Israel the right to Palestine land. Yeah, fucking twat. Honestly, how dare you?
David.
Fuck's sake.
You pull him up for his comment. You can't call him a twat.
Honestly, man, that's a ridiculous. That's defamation of my character.
David.
That's saying that. That's defamation of my character saying that. Right?
You get trolls in about. He obviously hasn't watched very much. Because otherwise we've spent the last...
No, I'm not having that, right?
I'm just saying, David, he obviously knew to the audience, otherwise he would know that we have spent every single day since October 7th condemning what's going on in Gaza.
Yeah, well, I'm not allowing anybody to put that up and let them get away with it, all right? But the next thing we're going to talk about, right?
James Lindsay, James Lindsay, he most certainly did not say that.
Who's this?
That's the guy you were just arguing about with Palestine.
I can't see him. What is he?
James Lindsay, he says, I thought David had said, did you not say that, David? And the answer is no, David has never said that.
Never, ever, ever.
Never. So, there you go, James. David doesn't go. In fact, you get right, don't you? David recognises Israel as a colonising power.
Yeah.
We need right today as the Palestinian land. And 3 weeks ago, when we were talking about this, we were talking about the United Nations, maybe 6 weeks ago, we were talking about how the United Nations was pointing out to Palestine that Israel was a territory within Palestine and no the other way around.
Yeah.
So let's clear that up. Right, let's move on.
Aye.
And stop calling what's on the show.
Next one is quite it really. I was jumping at the TV. I've got a big 65-inch TV, and it nearly ended up with my prosthetic limb through the screen. Right. Fiona Bruce was on doing her question time thing, but it was a situation where you had individual party leaders, right? And John Swinney was one. And the just to remind you of the programme, it was the one where what's his face, the Reform guy,
Nigel Farage.
Nigel Farage was on afterwards, right? So they were on about it was Fiona Bruce at the front, and individual people in the audience asked a question, right? And it came down as the NHS. What are you going to do about the NHS and the poor results of the NHS? And Mr. Swinney, right? And right then, Fiona Bruce piped up with something that was absolutely ridiculous. She said, "Oh yeah, what about there's 7,000 people in Scotland waiting for waiting more than 2 years for treatment. Now, okay, we've looked at that, absolutely right. But then she followed it to juxtaposition that to actually embarrass Scotland's NHS, and what she said, in England only has 300. Now, okay, we've looked up various reasons why she thinks she could get away with that. But the main one we found was, David.
That actually, a Public Health England only keep the records of waiting times for a year, as far as we
Yes.
can do. And at this point in time, waiting for 12 months in England was 338,612.
Yes. So which are a lot more than 300, right? So
Yes.
in that situation, the thing that most got me was that John Swinney stood there, listened to her, and he should have been gobsmacked. He should have been, what? You know, serious. Is this what you're telling me? The First Minister of Scotland? You're telling me that we've got 7,000 people waiting for more than 2 years, and the people in England is only 300? No. You know, it's even without researching it, you should have known the size of the population in England as opposed to the population in Scotland. That wouldn't and could not be the case. Yeah.
Mark said Bruce should be dropping vintage vases. She should be off dropping vintage vases. Off back to the Antiques Roadshow with you, Bruce. You're not getting political programmes. Yeah. Now, of course, David.
No, but the thing is, it's the fact that John Swinney let it go. As we've seen in a lot of these programmes in the past, where somebody says something that's totally idiotic, Unionist says something that's totally idiotic about Scotland, and the Scottish politician lets it go, lets it flitter off, lets the people in Scotland think, oh, well, that must be the case. That must be the case.
Now, why is it that somebody got to ask that question in the first place, David?
That?
Because standing in that fucking arena, instead of being Stephen Flynn and talking about matters that have to do with Hall, to Westminster, once again, when it comes to political issues here in Scotland, even though it's a Westminster election, they like to conflate devolved issues with it.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why John probably didn't know anything about the waiting times of 2 years in England was he knew her fucking business.
Yeah.
Now, as to health in Scotland being devolved, what Bruce knows about health in Scotland, she lives in London, you could write in the back of a fucking stamp. What Bruce knows about health in Scotland, as I say, she probably, in fact, what she knows about health in England, she probably you could write in the back of a stamp and all, she probably use a private bloody system. You know what I mean? But
all I can say is that you're right about the fact that it shouldn't have been John Swinney on that forum anyway. It should have been Stephen Flynn,
correct,
as the leader of the Commons group, right?
Yes.
So that's it, right? But the bit that I was saying was the fact that Fiona Bruce allowed, put such a lie on her programme.
Aye, and now this is an important part as well, because the BBC said they would fact check it. Now, why did the BBC say they would fact check it?
Yeah, well,
because the BBC don't produce it. It's produced.
Yeah, I know that. It's the BBC don't produce very much these days.
No, they put it out to air. That's about it.
Yeah.
So they can get away with that shit because the BBC.
Yeah.
They're not being held to the Royal Charter. The people who are producing these programmes, they're not being held to the Royal Charter. So. But the point is, John shouldn't have been there. And of course, that brings us on to article number 9, which is daftest candidates of the week.
Yeah. And sorry, guys, this one, we are both unanimous on this. The Egypt of the week is...
Aye. Go on. Egypts of the week. It's a joint award.
Yeah, joint award goes to Anas Sarwar and John Swinney. Right, there you go. Both for being slapped down.
Anas Sarwar's getting for being slapped down once again with Starmer on Friday and being put straight in his box and then being embarrassed about it Sunday on the BBC. John Swinney and joins the stupid electioneering of the week for going on that debate. He had no place being on that debate. The problem John's got at the moment is he's acting like a mid-term politician because it is mid-term for John. But this is a general election. Maybe John should stand aside and let Stephen get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point in time, John is going through the motions as if it's mid-term. Whereas for the MPs in Westminster, it's no mid-term.
Yeah,
I think
if it was midterm, John would be the ideal guy for the job. Nice and steady, all the rest of it, right? But when you're going for a general election, it doesn't matter whether it's Scottish general election or whether it be a Westminster general election, you need people with their teeth showing. Simple as that. John doesn't have any
John's
teeth.
not fighting for a seat.
Yeah,
He's acting like a mid-term politician.
yeah,
And he shouldn't have been there in the first place. In fact, he shouldn't have been involved in the bloody campaign very much, except for to endorse his own MPs and then shot his gob.
yeah.
And when it comes to these debates, it should be Stephen Flint and Mary Black that was put up for them.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of John Swinney and Kate Forbes. Now, I know they're wanting to push to the front that actually, as far as the MPs in Westminster are concerned, Holyrood is the seat of power in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
They will defer to the hierarchy within the SNP. Now, we know with the unionist parties it's the other way around, where they have to defer to MPs.
Yeah.
Because to them, the highest parliament is Westminster. To the SNP MPs, the highest political positions in Scotland are First Minister, Deputy First Minister, and they defer to the people. But when it comes to this campaign, John should have butt out. He's no fighting for a seat. He's acting like a mid-term politician. He's answering like a mid-term politician because he's no fighting for a seat. And that's why he and Anna Sarwar, who are no candidates, they are actually electioneering, but they're no candidates, they get idiots of the week, the pair of them. Sarwar should be shutting his gob, and Starmer should be taking the front. And Swinney should be shutting his gob, and Flynn should be taking the front. But as we know, Starmer's no popular here, and they seem to think Annas is. Although why anybody would trust Annas after the way that Starmer's treated them, I don't know. No. I really don't know, David. Right, I guess but as I say, that's my opinion. What do you think about John and his where he should he be leading this election for the SNP?
No, of course not. However, if it was a different situation and it was Nicola Sturgeon there, I would be very, very upset if Nicola Sturgeon wasn't involved. Yeah, but the difference is Nicola Sturgeon's got teeth. John Swinney doesn't.
I don't know about that, David.
Aye, she does. Aye, definitely does. Definitely does.
Yeah,
we've seen it. We've seen it when she's been attacking the women.
Right.
We
do know that Nicola took the lead in the 2017 and 2019 elections, general elections. Okay, we do know that she did quite well in them.
Yeah.
But Nicola, she eclipsed everybody when it came to politicians and statesmanship across these islands.
Yeah.
And John isn't a match for that, But I have to say that when it comes to these Westminster elections, you've got to be fighting for your seat to have a drive in it.
Aye, correct, absolutely. I think the difference is with Nicola, the word Scotland is stuck inside her, right? And you won't get that out. When John wants to all get around the campfire and sing Kumbaya.
He's trying to be all things to all people, and he's the wrong guy for these debates.
Yeah.
Because he's no fighting for a seat. Watch him be like a tiger in 2 years' time when he's fighting for a seat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where I am with John. He's not a bad politician. He's a good politician. But he's got no skin in the game in this one.
Yeah. Anyway, je suis disappointed, as they say, right?
I get that, David. Right, let's get to the two big conflicts that we talk about each week. What we do know is the Biden thing, he didn't get replaced. Okay, but as you pointed out, the 25th Amendment makes it difficult to replace him. No one is really.
It's just this. If you imagine the amendments that they've got to the Constitution of America, it's very, very, very it's convoluted, right? If a president dies, that's one thing. Obviously, the deputy president ends up getting sworn in straight away. That's no argument there. However, when it's the thing about ill health or getting a bit soft in the brain cells and all the rest of it, that's a different matter.
Aye, much better. The
I think
marvel
it'll
is
take,
with the John Swinney thing. Have you seen John Swinney at First Minister? Yes, he's brilliant.
yeah.
But as I say, for John, he's mid-term, and he's acting like he's mid-term in these debates. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the Israel-Gaza thing, David, and well, we know with Biden, he would probably need to pop his clogs at his
Yeah.
time.
Can we just finish the thing with John Swinney and Sawa?
Aye.
If both of them heard this, they'd probably have a good chuckle at it. So don't worry about it. All right. No. I'm not talking about you, Dave. I'm talking about people that are wondering what John Swinney would think about it, whatever. That's politicians don't worry about things like that. It just bounces off them, right? So
right, let's move out to Gaza. Netanyahu said Israeli forces will move to the Lebanon border as Rafah winds down. So apparently they're pulling out of Rafah, but as we know, they're still bombing northern Gaza.
Yeah.
Right, and apparently the Israeli army strapped a wounded Palestinian to a jeep and dragged him about.
I watched that. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, look, just let's paint a wee bit of a word picture, right? The Jeep was a dark colour. I don't know if it was dark green or whatever, right? Okay, but it was nearly black. Can you imagine that sitting out in the sun, middle of summer, at the east end of the Mediterranean, right? It would have been burning hot. And I mean, literally barbecue hot, right?
And the bugger's naked too.
Yeah, and then what happened was they took this guy who was wounded and they strapped him to the bonnet. They could have put him inside, no problem at all. But just to be that extra bit more cruel, they strapped him to the bonnet and drove him to a place where they could hand him over to a Palestinian medic.
Well, we'll play the video.
Aye, go on, David, do that, man, because if people haven't seen it, it's gut-wrenching, but it's got to be seen. You need to react to this.
Now, the credit to this, well, I've picked it up for the BBC, so they don't get credit for it, but they picked it up for another station. Footage shows wounded Palestinians strapped to Israeli jeep. Ready?
Yeah.
There he's there, behind the bubble. He's also
هذا ابن عمي مجاهد مصاب بكى مصاب تقريبا اكثر من ساعتين، تقريبا ساعتين ونص الى ثلاث. هو مرتني ورا هون يعني، واحنا قاعدين هون، هو بقى مرتني ورا. شو بعدين حطوه على الجيب قالوا بعديها انهم سلموه للمستشفى الحكومي.
So they've been told he's been handed out to the government, but whether he is or no, we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, but that's outrageous. You know, it's you say, David. It's a baking sun. He's strapped bald naked to the boot of a jeep.
Right.
That's just on.
Yeah. Well, as Paul said, he's been used as a human shield.
He's also been used. Yes, he's been used as a human shield and a warning to others.
Yeah.
And the Israeli strike on Gaza City kills dozens. There was much left in Gaza. And of course, according to what we're being told, it looks like full out a war with Lebanon. Israel thinks there's going to be a full out war with Lebanon because they're pulling out of Rafah and they're heading for the northern border.
Well, okay. Hezbollah are not the bunch of boys they once were. They're now quite quite an army, right? The other one that's came forward quite a lot is the Houthis. That effectively they have cleared the American and British flotilla out of the Red Sea.
Aye.
You know, you've got to look at it from the point of view of they were taking missile strikes all the time and just standing back up out the rubble and going, is that the best I've got? Come on, give us some more. and that was the way it was. That's the way they were being portrayed. And
Right.
it's like, that's what you call battle hardened.
Anyway, let's move across to Ukraine. Russia's blaming America for deaths in Crimea because the Ukrainians now have the okay to use American missiles to strike into Russian held territories,
Yeah.
including the main body of Russia itself.
Yeah.
Eh,
And what about the attacks on the beach? In Korea, in Crimea. Sorry, no Korea, Crimea.
That's the ones we're talking about. The
Mm.
deaths in Crimea, the Russians are blaming the Americans because the Americans have now given the Ukrainians permission to use their produced missiles to strike into Russian-held territories, including Mother Russia itself.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, as we know, we spoke last week, David, about Putin's visit to North Korea.
Yeah.
This week, he warned South Korea not to arm Ukrainians,
Yeah.
or else he might get his buddies in North Korea to give them a bloody kick in the arse.
Yeah, but don't forget who's right next door to North Korea. The Chinese are right next door to North Korea. In actual fact, it's like the North Koreans, I think, supply coal to the Chinese using the train link that they've got there. So the BRICS thing is going to become a thing that's going to affect you in your lives personally. And I think the BRICS thing will also form the anti-NATO. So in other words, where you've got NATO right now, and it's like us and the Americans and this and that and all the rest of it, right? Then Russians will have their own NATO. There'll be Russia, there will be North Korea, there'll be China, there'll be, the rest of it. And they'll all sign up to it. And okay, let's hope that it scares those in America or at the top of NATO that should have known better than to actually invite other countries near Russia into NATO. David's talked about this over and over again. At the time of the breakup of the Iron Curtain, then it should have been NATO. That's it. The Warsaw Pact's over. It should be NATO is over.
Aye.
And it didn't happen.
The other thing that was suggested at the time, David, is, I was in the military brass were saying, look, form your own military alliance.
Right. Yeah.
Right, well,
effectively what's happening is that's what you're getting, but it's the BRICS countries that are doing it. They're forming the NATO for themselves.
I don't know if they're, David, at this point in time. At this point, they're definitely building a market, the same sort of thing as
them. You've got two. You've got Russia and you've got North Korea. I don't think you've seen the last of that.
No, probably not. But as I say, we're time to bang it.
Oh, sorry. I
know you didn't watch the live on Saturday, but if you had seen Mike Fennick complain to me that we need to shut up after the hour because he watches it back late at night and wants to go to his bed. All right. So thanks everybody.
For bed.
I'm doing too much. Don't drink any more cider. Don't drink any more cider, mate. All right. Now, folks, thanks very much for tuning in. Thanks very much for your super chats. Thanks to the mod for moderating. Please hit the like button on YouTube. Please hit the share button across your social media. And we'll be back on Thursday today or again at 4 p.m. So that just leaves one thing left today, David.
Bye, David. Bye, guys.
David. Out of time again, David. You can do that all night.
Good show. I enjoyed that. It was really good. You see what that bastard said that I'll back the Israelis are fat.